diving into just some news from this past month. So there's lots of Microsoft 365 news that comes out. My goal is not to spend a ton of time just sitting here and talking through the news, but I did want to highlight a couple of news items that have come out. I kind of went back the last couple weeks or so. The first one, this is an important one, especially if you're an admin and you like PowerShell, is that on March 30 of 2024, so about 2 weeks ago now, 2.5 weeks ago, both the Microsoft Online, or MSOL, and the Azure AD PowerShell modules for Azure AD, primarily Microsoft Online, were deprecated. Microsoft has said they'll continue to allow these modules to work for a minimum of 6 months before retirement. So MSOL, Azure AD, it's not going to break today. It's still going to work for you if you still have scripts running in it. They should work for at least the next 6 months. Certain things may start breaking, I would say, over time. There's not going to be any more updates to it, anything like that. I do have these links too in the chat. I did think about this ahead of time. So if you do want to go check out these links, I will throw these out there. But as you are thinking through PowerShell modules, what you have out there, whether this is running in Azure Automation, if this is running in scheduled jobs on your machine, you're going to want to start converting those over to Microsoft Graph PowerShell. This is the future of Microsoft 365, PowerShell, Azure AD PowerShell. The website, the first one I linked to there and the one that I put out in the chat, that gives you a good commandlet mapping too. It gives you a little bit of a how to get started with Microsoft Graph PowerShell if you haven't played with it yet. It also gives you a commandlet mapping. So this was the command in MSOL, Microsoft Online PowerShell, or this was the command in Azure AD. Here's the new commandlet when it comes to Microsoft Graph. So hopefully that can help you as you convert all of those scripts over from the older module to the newer module. Something to be aware of. Absolutely get those scripts converted over. The next one, the new Planner app. This is one I've actually been playing with. I'll be honest, I haven't used Planner a lot in the past. With some of the new stuff they're coming out with the new Planner app, I've started playing with this a little bit more, testing it out. This is only in Teams for now. So the new Planner app is out, rolling out in Teams. If you want to go try out the new Planner app, you're going to have to do it in Teams for the time being. This will come out to the web and to Microsoft Project, actually, later this year. And part of this is an initiative to kind of bring some of these task management apps, bring Project and Planner together. And you're starting to see like To-Do and Planner work a little bit closer together. This is going to start bringing Planner and Project closer together. And you start seeing that in even some of these other announcements about like Planner Premium. So Planner Premium is going to bring additional functionality to Planner. It's going to bring things like a timeline or a Gantt chart view, dependencies between tasks, sprints, custom fields, team workloads, managing goals, and other types of functionality to the Planner platform. But the interesting thing about this is now if you go to Planner and you have the option to either buy or try Planner Premium, it's actually just a rename of Project Plan 1. So this is where you start to see as well some of those things coming together in terms of Project and Planner maybe merging. Project Plan 3 and Plan 5 are going to stay the same, so there is still going to be that differentiation between those higher levels of project. Maybe it'll change down the road. We'll just have to see. But there is some investment in Planner, and this has been an interesting thing to watch. Over the last couple of years, I feel like Planner maybe even stagnated a little bit. There wasn't as much attention given to it. I've started to feel the beginning of 2024 that Planner has kind of got new legs, some new life. Microsoft's starting to put a little bit more work into Planner. So if you haven't used it, you want to go check it out. Maybe play with Planner Premium, or if you already have Project Plan 1, you can start playing with Planner Premium as well. Related to Teams and Teams phone calling and call record insights. This one is only applicable if you're doing stuff with Microsoft Teams calling. But clients that I have worked with, people that I've talked to that do use Teams calling, especially in large environments, do care about some of the reporting that you can get out of phone calls through Microsoft Teams. And it hasn't been great. Microsoft says right in the blog post here that the Teams phone calling reports haven't been great. They haven't been the easiest to work with in the past. I've worked with them. I've tried to pull reports into Power BI and work with these various reports, and it wasn't fun. Microsoft recently announced, and I think this was in the last week or so, call record insights, which will hopefully simplify this as you start working with calls and pulling some of that data out. So this isn't necessarily a feature or functionality that you go turn on. You'll see the deployment guide on here. It's linked to in the blog post as well, where it actually goes and creates some infrastructure within Azure. It uses Azure Functions, storage queues, event hubs, and puts a bunch of the data into Cosmos DB and integrates this all so you can start pulling this data in Data Explorer. So there will be some cost with this because you are going to be spinning up those different resources in your Azure environment. But this is going to go ahead, and as those call record details become available, it's going to automatically fetch a lot of those records from within the data that's generated with these phone calls. The nice thing is it's going to actually take a bunch of that data, convert it all from the JSON data to tables, so it's easier to work with. You're not going to have to worry about code. You're not going to have to worry about any crazy configurations with that. You'll just deploy those resources through that GitHub link. Once it's there, you can start using Data Explorer and do things like write KQL queries against your data. You can build Kusto dashboards leveraging those queries. So this is going to enable you to have a lot richer functionality and hopefully a lot easier functionality when you're trying to pull those details about call records out. You can hook this right into Power BI as well. So again, I've looked at the Power BI data in the past, kind of the data that you could pull out before. It wasn't necessarily easy to work with. So I have not spun this up yet. Again, I just saw it in the last few days. I plan to go turn this on, spin one of these up, and play with it. Maybe we'll do a future one of these where I'll demo this once it's all set up and dive into it a little bit more. So if you're doing calls, you want to pull more insights, have more functionality and ability to look at those different insights, absolutely go check this out. Go ahead and try to deploy it. Again, be aware there's going to be a cost with it. Next up is a new feature to Microsoft Defender. So diving into security a little bit more. QR code threats have become increasingly popular with, I think people have just developed a habit of someone pops up a QR code and you scan it, or somebody, signs have QR codes on them. QR codes are popping up all over the place. It's funny because they've been around for so long. But I feel like they've started gaining popularity recently. And a common attack is people are actually maybe putting a sticker of a malicious QR code over a legitimate one. Different ways to try to exploit QR codes, especially because with QR codes, before you scan it, you don't know what the URL is. You don't know where that QR code is going to take you, what that QR code may link to. So within Microsoft Defender, Microsoft has now rolled out the ability for Defender to extract URLs from these QR codes. This may not necessarily prevent your users from scanning them, but it will help you as a security expert go in and detect when a malicious QR code has been scanned. Because what Defender will do now is it'll extract that URL from the QR code, and within your logs, within Microsoft Defender, within Sentinel, you can see within Advanced Hunting, wherever you're looking at those logs, the source or location is going to be identified as a QR code. So if you're going into Security Center in Microsoft 365, going through Explorer, you can actually go in and start doing a source filter now on where are these links where the source URL includes a QR code, set up different detection rules and alerting through Advanced Hunting, through some of these sample queries and detection rules that are available here, so that you can detect if people are scanning QR codes and visiting a URL after scanning those QR codes, or if you're having an abundance of people within your organization scanning QR codes, maybe you want to do some security training around some of the risks with QR codes. This another nice feature added to Microsoft Defender if you are worried about QR codes and you want to go in and do a little investigating or hunting within your logs to see how are QR codes or how are your users scanning QR codes, what types of URLs are they visiting by scanning those QR codes. That kind of wraps up some of the news for this month. Again, there was a lot more there. I wanted to pick and choose. I didn't want this to just be, here's a bunch of news. I wanted to try to mix this up a little bit. So moving on to our Microsoft 365 tip for this month.